Hey, how's it going today, Chip?
It's going great. Day before Thanksgiving. We're really excited for the holiday. You are looking forward to it?
Oh, absolutely. I like this holiday because, as I was mentioning to you before, it's the only holiday without a lot of crapola that goes with it. It's just get together with your family, have a good time, eat and drink, and be merry.
It is. It is. I couldn't agree more. Wonderful.
And,
We're looking
yeah,
forward
it's
to it.
also the start of all those great holiday movie seasons. I won't watch a holiday movie until Thanksgiving is here. So I think I'm going to start with Miracle on 34th Street and run them through right to the Peanuts one.
Nice. Nice. We attempted to watch one this weekend, actually. My boys were victims of the commercial assault, and they just couldn't believe what the ratio of commercials to actual, movie content was. So the generation of Netflix is really spoiled. But I'm with them. I really can't stand the commercials either.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I started streaming, and there's ways around getting some of the commercials when you stream. And my wife and I, we never watch TV. We're always trying to catch up. Like if there's a good series someone tells us about, we get onto the streaming and try to catch up with it because we never watch it when it's going on. And that eliminates a lot of our commercials, which is real nice. Yeah,
Time is valuable.
Yeah. So I'm excited also about the event. It's coming up. Well, it's in January, the end of January, so it's not too soon. It's about 2 months away. However, we're more than halfway full, which is really exciting. People are really interested in the concept that we've put together. So, to recap, since the last video we did, and I'll put the link to that last video, so if people want to watch that over again, they can below. We're doing it more on a health, wellness, and protection concept, not just protection and not just learning a kata. We're getting into the insides of the kata, and you're going to come at it from your approach. I'm going to come at it from my approach. So could you tell the audience a little bit about what you're going to be going over?
Sure. I'm really excited for folks who have exposure to at least the Uechi version of Sanchin and how it's practiced, because they're going to get a really unique perspective into how you teach it and some of the things you focus on. We're going to be building the kata from the ground up. We're going to be talking about how to nurture energy, how to store it in the body, of course, how to deliver it efficiently, how to strike with the entire body, hopefully tapping into Gamaku and the Okinawan concept of really having heavy hands or heavy body parts when you hit. Sanchin is a phenomenal strength training exercise, or just call it a wellness exercise, because it trains the entire body. But it also has some wonderful applications that are built right into it. It's really the foundation of all Okinawan karate systems. But there's tremendous value in it, even from an application standpoint. So we're going to be reviewing some of my favorite aspects from the lower body, the upper body, some fun self-defense techniques that are so simple if you understand Sanchin. And giving folks an opportunity to play around with some partners in the seminar as well.
Excellent, excellent. I'm looking forward to learning from you because I've seen. I'm going to be doing a Uechi version also of the form, and I want to see your input because you've gone to Okinawa many times. You haven't really Americanized your karate per se. So it's back more to the traditional roots. And I want to see what they're talking about and what you picked up over the years. It's fascinating what you just said about the energy and the heavy hand, and all that plays into what I usually do with the Kyusho. So I'm really interested in learning that from you. I'll be training right with the rest of the crowd there. And it's going to be great. I'm going to take it from a little bit different concept. I'm going to be working more with a full body motion, okay? And in Uechi, as you know, but many of our listeners might not, Uechi is based on the tiger, the crane, and the dragon styles. I've been studying the Bubishi for a long time, and there's a clear delineation between the white crane and the black tiger. Little mention of the dragon, but not as much. But that's where the Uechi comes in because it really exposes that. So I'm going to be taking it on the approach of the black tiger. And it's a little bit different concept, I believe, from all that I've seen of the Uechi and all the people that I've dealt with discussing the Uechi version of Sanchin and getting their input throughout the years. Now, we really haven't discussed a lot of the Sanchin, you and I. I'm talking about some other people in the Uechi organization. As I'm new at this. I've been at it since 1996. So pretty new, okay. And I'm still fascinated by the form. And I had Sanchin way before that. I've been training Sanchin for decades. But I threw out my old versions. I had two other old versions, a Samchen, which is a Chinese version, very energetic. So it might be along the lines with what you're going to teach. So I'm anxious to hear and see what you're doing. And also Sanchin of Rukyu, which is a closed-fisted version as opposed to the open-fisted version. Mm-hmm. Have you ever dealt with the old, the closed-fist versions?
I have not. I've experimented with it myself. I've done or received a small amount of training in it. But what I've discovered is that the variables that are managed or that one is trying to manage in Sanchin are just differently weighted. And so, I don't believe Sanchin should be entirely hard nor entirely soft. I think there needs to be a proper balance to have the best acceleration in your strikes possible. I think there needs to be gamaku to ensure that you have hard, heavy strikes when you actually make contact. I think you need to be connected to the floor so that at the end of your strike, you're able to take advantage of grappling properties. And if you only subscribe or apply to one of these philosophies, you miss out on opportunities. So in America, I see a lot of hard Sanchin, and then I see a lot of really soft Sanchin. But I think doing exclusively one or the other only gives you part of the picture. And I'm a smaller statued person, but I definitely value the percussive aspects, but also mobility and not always receiving strikes that I don't necessarily need to receive, but being able to grapple, to reposition, to improve my tactical position to maximize my counterattacks. And I think so much of this is in Sanchin when practiced properly. Just a couple months ago, working with my teacher in Okinawa, we're still working on these small nuances, and he knows exactly when to interrupt my technique to confirm and validate if I'm applying these concepts or whether I'm just appearing to demonstrate these concepts. It's easy to hide in your dogi when you practice and look strong because you've got, this machismo energy that you're projecting, but inside you really are, an empty egg, so to speak. So,
right. So, yeah, I'm excited about it because, again, you got the different aspects of the animals, and they were given, the Uechi adopted the three animals for a purpose. Whether that purpose was what I believe that they had three different methodologies to instruct using the forms, depending on the stature of the person, depending on the person themselves. And I see it as like the crane is more of a somatic nerve system based art, where you're like the white crane. White crane, for example, is a yang animal that many people think of as a yin animal because it's a bird, it's frail. But if you look at the yang, the bird and the white crane of the Bubishi, the way it's mentioned, white crane, it's not just mentioned crane, it's a white crane. And yeah, there are white cranes, but why did they name it such? Okay, and white is the color of yang, so it's a very yang personified animal because everything darts out. Its beak darts out, its wings flash out, its talons come out. It attacks with a yang concussive expression. All right, whereas like the black tiger that I prefer because of my body structure and my age, it's more of a compressive and yin animal. Now everybody thinks of the tiger as a yin animal or a yang animal because it's big, it's ferocious, it's strong, it epitomizes strength and ferocity. All right, but when you look at the animal, first of all, as it's wandering around, it's not out in the open like the crane where it's just like, hey, look at me. Okay, it's sliding around in the grass or hunting. So it's a very yin aspect to it. When it grabs onto its prey, it pulls, and it uses the compression of its claws and its teeth to overcome the opponent. This is a very yin aspect, all right? And when you look at it, the yin and the yang of it, why is it called a black tiger? Why isn't it called just a tiger? All right, how many black tigers are there out there? How many people have seen a black tiger? You know, so there's a sure method to the person that wrote the Bubishi as to why they named it a black tiger, and I believe it's because it's the yin aspects. It goes deeper, I believe, in other systems as well with that. Like, for example, and I'll stop talking in a second because I'm rambling right now, but I love this subject and I could talk about this forever. The white crane and how it attacks the nerve system. When you attack a person's nervous system, they get a white flash in their eyes. All right. If you attack the blood system like the tiger with the compression of the blood vessels, all right, you're going to fade the person's eyesight to black. So there's just this dynamic that just keeps appearing time and time again. And in the Uechi, it's personified so excellently. Okay. And even within the basic form of Sanchin. And I call it basic because it's the first kata that's trained, but at the same time, it's the most profound. So I'm sorry to ramble.
Not at all. Not at all. I think it's going to be really interesting to have, I wouldn't call them extremes, but two ends of the spectrum being taught to achieve the same purpose. So folks will get a chance to really experiment and play with each and see which one might work better for their style or their body type or their strengths, and do some experimenting.
Right. This is one of the benefits of doing a seminar. It's like you come with an open book. I mean, you're coming because your mind is open. You want to learn something new. I'm very against the traditional seminars you go to, and they have you doing this punch up and down the mat. So they have you doing these arm conditioning exercises or blocking and for the whole time. I mean, this is what you get in your class. A seminar is to give people a little bit more information that they've never been exposed to before, just to get some wheels turning. Not to say it's the right way. It's just our experience, okay, that we're sharing with people to take a look and maybe say, oh yeah, never thought of that. And where they take it from there, of course, that's their own personal thing. So I'm also, I like the seminar format too because it gets us away from the traditional setting of a class where people are listening to the instructor and he's saying something and you listen to it and you do it exactly. This is a little bit more experimental, all right? And I believe one of the reasons why a lot of the adults left our karate schools and we've been changed over to more of a kids program is because we're not giving the deep answers. We're just pushing people through this curriculum to get them to grade and whatnot, as opposed to really taking these concepts and these tools that we're giving them, take them apart and look at them from inside and out.
Yeah, I agree. The depth that I go back to Okinawa for often doesn't seem to be the focus in America so much. It seems more formulaic, and it's like, okay, we're going to go through these 6 steps in our class, get a good workout, say hi to our friends, and head on home. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I like to think of myself as an academic in the art. And I like to get a little deeper because I think the treasures are worth digging for and certainly rewarding. And I want to be involved in passing on this information in the most accurate manner, in the richest manner possible. So I agree. It'll be an open format, lots of opportunity to explore and ask questions, experiment. And the venue is very nice from what I understand as well.
Yeah, it is. It's a beautiful place. And we do have one doctor that I've had many discussions with in the past. He's coming to attend, and he's also going to help us relate the ancient Bubishi and the Sichin and all those mystical things that you saw in the Bubishi but couldn't really put together. He could help us with this as well. And what's interesting about the concepts that I work with the Kyusho is I don't just go on hearsay. I don't just go on, what's presented in books. I cross-reference and validate everything with medical professionals. So what we're going to be discussing with the health benefits to begin with, we're going to start the seminar off with more of the health, develop into the wellness, and then, of course, into the protective systems as well, is getting this information, validating it first with a medical professional or an emergency personnel if it's a protective system like a law enforcement agent or something of that nature, and really like putting it back into the art so people can get not just a karate look at what we're doing, but a lifestyle look at what we're doing.
Super.
Yeah. I'm anxious to talk with him, get his viewpoints on what we're going to be talking about. I don't know how you're going to relate your section. Time will tell, but the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to first start with the way that the Sanchin massages the nervous system of the body and how it helps our connections. And then we're going to get into protecting those connections again, and then we're going to go into attacking those protections. So,
beautiful. Yeah, we're going to be working on muscle contraction, focusing on tendons, why Sanchin aims to develop these areas, and then how they can be applied both offensively and defensively. So in Okinawa, it's often said that if you're doing Sanchin, you always have your strength training, your conditioning, and you're keeping the Budo alive in your karate. So it wouldn't be unusual to go to a class and spend an hour just on Sanchin alone before you got to anything else. It's highly, highly valued, and the training speaks for itself. So what people who practice Sanchin can achieve, how it's performed both by the youth in our society as well as by the elders, is really impressive. Of course, the Okinawans for a long time had more, what are they called, centennials in their culture than any other culture in the world. I think that's changing a little bit now that their diet's changing, but there's different ways to practice Sanchin, and there's some debate about different breathing methods and how those can be either beneficial or detrimental, actually, to wellness. So it'll be interesting to talk about that, because I think breathing's really important, so that it's sustainable, natural, but that it also supports your goals and it's making you stronger or more relaxed, faster, more efficient. And not robotic, but it's being an asset to your overall mission, whether it's striking acceleration or whether it's receiving a blow, whether it's visualization. And I think that part's often left off to the side because it's a little more difficult to get a handle of. So that'll be interesting to talk about as well.
Yeah, and so essential because, these days everybody's got too much stress. There's no time left in the world, and we're stressed to the max. That affects our breathing. And to help people learn to control their breathing, to reduce their stress and all the health ramifications that go along with that is that's so important. And it's probably the most important thing of what would be discussing at the seminar, because again, if you don't have your health, nothing else goes along, So taking it from that breathing aspect's a brilliant approach, and seeing how it works with the body, and just as a glimpse of how I do breathing exercises also in the Sanchin and also other Qigong methods. And it's to stimulate your internal nervous system. And I keep getting back to the nerve system, not just because I'm a Kyusho guy, because without the central nervous system, your brain, nothing else functions. But you have in your nervous system, you have three substructures. You have the somatic structure, which is your conscious control of your muscles, which of course the people have. And they would learn how to control it a little better via the Sanchin. But then you get into the autonomic nervous system, which is broken into two parts. The autonomic system is what helps us with our automatic functions like our breathing, our digestion, our respiration. Now, in respiration, that's part of the parasympathetic system. Okay, the autonomic system is broken down into a sympathetic and a parasympathetic. The sympathetic is the fight, flight, freeze, or faint type of idea, where all of a sudden an opponent, a problem, a situation, an emergency comes your way. How do you handle it? The Sanchin training, the way I see it, and the way that the breathing is taught and worked with, and the body posturing, it's to eliminate that freeze, that faint, okay? And then you have your options whether to run or fight. And if you fight, you're protected further by the somatic system, the somatic nervous system, because your body is conditioned to take a hit, give a hit. So that's great. And then you have the parasympathetic system, where the vagus nerve runs through all your organs. The correct breathing stimulates that vagus nervous system, which reduces stress naturally. All right, so this whole thing ties into the Sanchin, even the posture. I was just looking at an anatomical chart before we got on the call here, and I was looking at the vagus nerve system. Now, the vagus nervous system runs from about the head level right down into the lower abdomen, okay, and it innervates all our organs and bowels and all this kind of stuff. But if you look at it from the neck, the neck where it's going from the body down, it comes to a shape that comes out to an X shape, and that is the classical Sanchin posture, how it connects into the heart, into the upper body. So, and you look at the whole vagus nervous system, it looks the same, because you have the split of the vagus nerve from the vertebrae that it emanates from, and it comes down, it comes together right at the heart level, okay, where it gets tucked in behind the aorta, and then it comes out into the heart in that classic shape of the Sanchin. But then it goes further because it comes down the trunk of the body and then mushrooms out into the other organs and lower abdomen. So again, that dynamic shape of the Sanchin alone depicts the vagus nervous system and so much more. Okay, sorry, I know that was a little heady for a lot of people, but that's the depth that we're looking at this form and this practice in this seminar. And
it'll be interesting. There's no doubt about it. I think there'll be a lot of good takeaways. Usually, if I can get one or two at a seminar, I'm pleased, because it's often overload with content. But I think there'll be lots of great takeaways that are fairly straightforward and easy to grasp and apply into your method of practice, regardless of its origins or lineage. So that'll be great too.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, just taking one thing away, as you mentioned, is all I usually go to a seminar for. Even when I'm teaching a seminar, I look for one thing. I always learn when I'm working with a seminar or working a seminar where I'm teaching it, and you learn all the time anyway. But I look for that one key thing. So when people come to this, if they get overwhelmed by information, first of all, don't worry. Take away your favorite thing. You're going to remember one thing, okay? If you're doing the seminar, say the first segment, you learn that one thing and you're all excited and you're gung-ho about it, and then later something else is mentioned that's even more exciting and even more beneficial to you, don't worry about the first one. It'll come back because it was that important to you. You're going to remember it, so you just remember the other. So don't, to the people that are watching that are going to attend especially, don't get worried about being overwhelmed. We're presenting a lot because we have people that are from base beginner level with this form to more advanced students of the art. So we have to fill the whole gambit of people learning from beginner to experienced with information that hopefully is new and challenging for them.
Super.
Yeah. So in the protective realm, as opposed to the health realm, you're going to be doing some drills or some ideas like that?
Definitely. So I have a ton of drills to exercise each of the different aspects of the kata, whether you're working footwork or whether you're working on centering and balance, compression and expansion, breathing. But there's some great self-defense drills that come right out of the biomechanics of the form itself, which often the simplest things are the best things because they're the ones that stand the test of time, don't break down under stress and the fight or flight. And I think people will find quite fun and interesting. So I think these are some of the best parts of Sanchin, if you will, for someone who hasn't practiced it, when they can put their arms up in a posture and see how easy it is to be effective at defending and then attacking some of the most vulnerable parts on your partner's body, namely the neck and higher.
Yeah. Great concentration right there, because that's what's in front of you. Okay, and as your peripheral vision shuts down in an emergency situation, you're only going to be having the tunnel vision and seeing straight ahead of you. So to put a lot of your self-protection into the head neck area is just a brilliant concept, and what people should do. All right, and also to make sure that they don't fall over when they're doing it with a good stable base. Yeah. I'm going to be working, of course, with the vital targets that are within the Bubishi that were inherent in the Uechi system as well. And I know this because I see some of the elders teaching some of the Kyusho. And this is on YouTube, and I've put a couple of clips up on my channel too of the old senseis, because they know it. They're just not disseminating the information publicly as we would all hope they would. So it's our chance to show that within the Uechi system is this intricate mesh of knowing Kyusho, or the vital targets. And by the way, folks, it is not pressure points. It is not acupuncture. It is not traditional Chinese medical based. This is real anatomical structures that these older generations, of course, knew, lived, and died by.
I'm looking forward to learning myself. I expect to take away a lot.
Yeah, myself as well. I just hope my mind can retain some of it, you know? Yeah. So, okay, anything else to say?
Just looking forward to it. It'll be here before we know it. The holidays are almost upon us, and then we'll be in January. So I feel like it's right around the corner, but I'm looking forward to it. It's going to get the new year off to a wonderful start.
Absolutely. And I'm going to be trying to put this video together and get it up on YouTube so people over this extended weekend can take a look at it, listen to it, maybe go back to the other one, because the other video was pretty close to 45 minutes, an hour, somewhere in there. So a lot of information was discussed in this one, of course, and of course the last one too, and tying bits and pieces together so they have the time to sit down and say, oh yeah, that might be a good seminar for me to take in, get some good information, or just see a different outlook. So you and your family, I hope you have a happy, healthy holiday and enjoy the heck out of it.
Thank you, sir. Same to you.
All right. Be well.
We'll talk to you soon.
Take care, Chuck.